Professor, mainstream Western media has repeated without question the line that, first of all, Israel targeted Iranian positions in Syria, and second, that Iran carried out the response in the Golan Heights. What is your reading of the situation?
Well, the Israelis have fabricated the whole story. It's sort of like the story that Netanyahu created when he pretended that the Israeli intelligence took out tons of material from Iran to prove that Iran was developing a nuclear weapon. That was all fabrication. The International Atomic Energy Agency also negated and rejected the whole notion that Iran was moving towards a nuclear weapon. In this case, there were no Iranians present, and if the Israelis really have evidence, then they can name at least a single Iranian casualty. That would be good for all of us to know. If they are able to take out so much classified material, allegedly from Iran, then they should be able to give some names. There are no names because there were no people killed by the Israelis. They simply attacked Syrian targets. The reason why they tried to involve Iran is because they want to justify their aggression against Syria. They've been bombing Syria repeatedly over the past few years. No one in the West has protested. They've done that to help the extremists because ISIS is on the border between the Israeli regime and Syria, to the south near Jordan, and to the north near the Lebanese border. Al-Qaeda is present. The Israelis tolerate ISIS, and they actually helped Al-Qaeda. They help Al-Qaeda troops by dealing with their injured soldiers, and the Nusra Front has a good relationship with Israel as well. But this is not something that gets much attention in the Western media for some reason.
The evidence you mentioned Netanyahu presented just a few weeks ago was, of course, the justification, part of the justification Trump used for withdrawing from the Iran deal. Israel then started striking Syria within an hour of Trump's announcement that the U.S. would withdraw from the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Could this be part of a wider coordinated strategy by Washington and Tel Aviv? And if so, what's the end game?
Yes, I think it's obviously a coordinated attempt to create greater tension and to try to isolate Iran, just as the United States and the Europeans, or at least some Europeans, have worked together to try to isolate Russia in the past few months. It's obvious that Netanyahu was fabricating a story about the Iranian nuclear program. One reason is because just a few weeks ago, Pompeo, when he was still the head of the CIA, he went to the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and when he was seeking confirmation to become the Secretary of State, and he admitted that even before the nuclear deal, Iran was not pursuing a nuclear weapon. The reason why he said it was because he wanted to assure congressmen and women that, and senators, that if the United States exits the agreement, Iran won't be seeking a nuclear weapon, because Iran wasn't doing so even in the past. So he unwittingly destroyed 15 years of anti-Iranian propaganda. Of course, it was none of the mainstream media outlets in the West said anything about this. But so obviously, when the head of the CIA admits that Iran was not seeking a nuclear weapon, then obviously what Netanyahu says is nonsense. But I think Netanyahu and Trump were probably coordinating together so that he could help Trump justify his exit from the agreement.